Do moms have to do everything? I think this is a totally valid question, and it's probably something that you have asked yourself before. Last week I gave you my process for how I manage all of the to-dos, and maybe after writing it all down, you're feeling a little bit swamped with that mental load. And guess what? You have a house full of helpers. They just might not know it yet. So let's put them to work. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to start involving your family more in all of your to-dos. So we might as well talk about the elephant in the room. Thinking about getting our husband and our kids helping more around the house might sound really, really great until we realize what this means for us. It means that our mental load just got a whole lot bigger, right? It would be great if everyone just took responsibility for something and got it all done, but that is rarely how it works. We are really now adding another huge chore to our list, which is managing all these people, right? And managing their tasks. So when I was reading articles about mental load, one of them pointed out that if one person has to constantly remind the others to uphold their end of the bargain, or to make lists or chore charts for them, maintain all of those things, that's still work. And we as moms take on this role so often, not only with our kids, but also with our husbands. I acknowledge that, and I'm still gonna tell you to do it. It is so worth it, and we will be taking it one bite-sized piece at a time, so don't worry too much. First and foremost, there is one thing that every woman should be expecting of everyone in the household. They should absolutely be picking up after themselves. There is no reason why a mom or a wife should be picking up after anyone in the house. From toddlers clear up to husbands, that is not her job. Putting something back after using it, throwing away their trash, putting their dirty clothes into the hamper, clearing their dishes after meals, basically just taking ownership of whatever it is that they have touched. If you are starting at ground zero, feeling like you do every single thing for every single person in the house, start here. Let your family know that you are needing a little bit more help around the house, and you now expect everyone to do their part by cleaning up after themselves. I will link my video on getting kids to pick up after themselves if you're wanting a few more tips for that. So that should be the bare minimum of what's expected. Beyond that, 3 other things that I would suggest that are so incredibly reasonable for everyone in the household, based on your kid's age, of course. First would be contributing to meals. Prepping, cooking, setting the table, putting food away, doing the dishes, sweeping under the table, wiping surfaces. So much goes into a meal. So much goes into cooking and preparing and cleaning up dinner. And there are so many jobs to choose from. Everyone's got to eat, so might as well make it into a group effort. Second would be taking ownership of a zone. A zone just means one certain area. So on a daily basis, each person has a designated part of the house that is their responsibility. Expectations are mapped out ahead of time about what should be done every day in this area, and they just take ownership of that one area every single day. So it could be tidying and vacuuming the entryway. It could be tidying and wiping down the bathroom counter. Really anything that you find gets dirty so often and it's just a consistent pain point to you or anyone in the house, designate that as somebody's zone. Third is to have a weekly chore. It can absolutely be expected that everyone contributes to the cleaning of the house. Everyone lives here, everyone's making a mess, so everyone can get involved in this. There are just so many important skills for your kids to have in their lives, right? That we want to teach them. Honestly, we want to create good habits for them. So there are a lot of reasons to involve them in this cleaning. I do have a more in-depth video about kids doing chores that I will link as well. I will say, there does need to be a basic, reasonable standard that everybody can agree upon. If you are a bit of a clean freak like I am, you want to get your family involved and try to meet them in the middle and decide the frequency and level of cleanliness that's expected. So I think the goal should be to get our kids and our husbands in on all of this, but there is a huge difference between the two, kids and husbands. So first let's talk about kids because they are the easy part. As their mom, it is our responsibility to teach them how to be a contributing member of the household. So all the things we just listed can be built into your parenting. There can be rewards, there can be consequences tied to those things, or it can be less official. I do a more official route with my older kids. Once they are 6, I bring them into our family economy. It's from the book Entitlement Trap. That's phenomenal. Basically, they just earn check marks each day for certain things, and that basically earns them money. Basically, it goes towards their allowance. Does that make sense? And then in the earlier years, I have a toddler right now, and it really is just like having him do the things I need him to do first before we can do the next fun thing. So let's pick up the marbles so that we can get your vehicles out. You totally can go outside once you put your jammies in the hamper. So he can throw a fit, he can choose not to do it, but he will be missing out on something. And if I end up needing to be the one to pick that up, it gets put somewhere where I will not have to pick it up again anytime soon, if you catch my drift. So that's kind of how I do that with kids. That's kids, they're the easy part. Since it's actually our job to be their mother, right? It's easy to be their mother. Husbands, on the other hand, are way harder to figure out. I have thought about this so hard for so long, several weeks, and I still don't feel like I have the answers. I don't want to feel like his mom, and I know for a fact he does not want to feel like he's one of the kids. So how do women get their husbands to help without having that translate to nagging or resentment? I don't know about you, but I want to feel like a wife and not a supervisor. So let's start with what we don't want to have happen. We make a request of something that we want our husband to do, and he agrees to do it. He doesn't do it. He doesn't do it right away, let's say, so we might nag or keep wondering when he's going to do it. More time might pass, and it's very clear he's probably forgotten to do it. An honest mistake, right? We're intentionally giving him the benefit of the doubt because although it's been on our minds every single day, it's probably never even crossed his mind again after that first conversation. It's really easy for us at this point to start feeling frustrated and to let that undone task impact the relationship and maybe get into a cycle of nagging or reminding. Maybe we at some point decide to just do it ourselves, but then we realize that we're really holding a grudge that we had to do it by ourselves, right? All we want is for them to just do it, and the sad truth is we cannot force them to do it. So, what's the answer? The last thing I want you to feel is, if I don't do it, nobody will. That is incredibly exhausting and discouraging and honestly really lonely. So, I truly don't have the perfect formula, clearly, but what I do want to offer you is a starting point that has worked really well for me. Make a request of your husband that you can fully let go of. In other words, if it doesn't happen, you can completely accept that. It's not something that is staring you in the face, getting on your nerves every single day. So things for me that would fall into this category are taking the trash cans out to the curb on garbage day and bringing them back in. If our trash piled up outside for weeks, it really wouldn't be the end of the world for me. I would make a pile where I didn't really see it very often outside and pretty easily forget about it. Feeding and watering the dog is another one. I love our dog so much, and I have total confidence that my husband was able to keep him alive before marrying me, and surely he can keep doing that. If I see an empty set of dog bowls, I just decide that my husband is probably waiting until after work to feed him so that he can eat dinner with us. Just recently, this is a really big one for me, I was able to feel at peace about my husband taking the kids to school in the morning. It really stresses me out when they are running later than I would like, but no one else seemed to notice. And so I finally decided to choose to let go of that stress every morning and try to enjoy a more calm morning. Another thing is dinners on Sundays. I have designated this day as my husband's day to be in charge of dinner, and I'm just ready for whatever this looks like. It might be a frozen dinner, it might be a late dinner. He's honestly a great cook, so it's always delicious, but I would be okay if it were those other things. These are things that we have decided together by me and my husband as things that he's in charge of. And so for the most part, I have been able to completely let go of those tasks. Ideally, I'm not thinking about them, I'm not keeping track of them. They are just off of my radar. My own tasks are plenty of a mental load for me, right? I'm plenty busy with those things. Perhaps the most important piece to getting help is this. You cannot criticize or correct how they're doing it. You cannot nag them to start doing it or to get it done. You can't get frustrated if they're in a mood about doing it. All of this just makes us and them totally miserable. It takes a toll on the relationship, and it honestly makes that person never want to help us with anything ever again. We don't mean for it to go this way, but sometimes it just does. As stay-at-home moms, the house is our workspace and our realm, and so it's easy for us to feel a little bit controlling about how things get done and when things get done. But do you see the monumental impact that this attempt of control has on our mental load? Let's just go into a hypothetical. Somebody, could be a child, could be your husband, offers to do the dishes tonight. You have the opportunity to take something off of your plate, to completely check it off the list. But maybe instead you said yes and hovered, or you stressed about how they were doing it, or you micromanaged, which means you just threw away a huge opportunity to walk away from the pile of dishes and move on with your life. Think of all the things you could have done. You could have spent some quality time with one of your children. You could have gotten out a book and done some reading. You could have taken a walk around the neighborhood. So many things, Mama, so many things. So, expect your family to help you and then let them help you. Both of these truly are skills that you will need to practice, but you can get to the point when you don't feel like everything is on you anymore. Seriously, try it out. Do yourself a favor. Get your family involved. You will feel so much better. I am excited to see you very soon.